Hello, everybody. Welcome to Top Gear. And today we have a very special guest. We have Mr. Con.
Hello.
How are you doing, man, Mr. Con? How has your week been, Mr. Con?
It was busy, man. It was crazy busy. This week we had a lot of things happening. Started off with we started off by going to check out a 1 million ringgit Lexus. It's basically a Toyota Alphard. Toyota Alphard reskinned to be a Lexus, and now it costs 1 million. Then Tuesday we went for a media drive of the Isuzu D-Max. And Wednesday we went to what? It's a Kinchan, yeah.
It's a Kinchan, right?
Yeah, so my video is up. We are now waiting. Tana and Rachel with me. So Tana will be publishing his video in PM. Rachel will be doing hers in Kanto. So I'll be guest appearing in both of them. So we will wait for them to release theirs lah. Then yesterday you guys had a busy time. Yesterday you guys reviewed the Ferrari Roma. I had to excuse myself because I was busy doing matters related to Evo Club Car Wash. So quick shameless plug, guys. We are looking for investors and operators to join us with Evo Club Car Wash. This is an opportunity for you guys to start your own business, be your own boss. You know, a lot of people out there looking for jobs, looking for opportunities. So if you know anybody who is looking for a job, for a business opportunity, hit us up. Okay, hit us up.
Yep.
Yeah. Then today I was in Sepang in the morning for a Pride Day, and it wasn't any 911s or what, but it was the Taycan. It's crazy to drive round Sepang. It just
in an electric car.
Yeah. Eugene asked why is Con wearing a Mercedes-Benz t-shirt? Purposely one.
Why is Con wearing a Mercedes-Benz shirt? We're talking about BMW. That video
just to show that we are not friends.
Your video in 3 hours. Your video in 3 hours had like 300 plus shares or something like that. Yeah. Of your excitement in launching the Taycan Turbo.
That car is crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, do you know crazy, that, right? Yeah. They were telling me, right?
Anyway,
because the thing is that we had to sit in the car with an instructor by our side, right? So they have to limit each media to just one launch control attempt. Why? Because anything more, those guys sitting next to us going to puke. The G-force is insane. I tell you, it's insane. Even without sport mode, even in normal mode, right? You just full throttle, right? The thing just boom, gone.
Well, can't wait to experience it in a Taycan.
Yeah.
Wow. So you had that this morning?
This morning, yes. Yep. So that was my
busy week for me as well, man.
How was the Roma
as well? The Roma is my favorite Ferrari right now, and it's strange because
really,
Ferrari. We talked about it all the time. Yes. I never expect to fall in love with the Roma. I actually do like it a lot. Let me not start talking about that because we're talking about BMW today. All right.
Yes. So let's acknowledge our audience. We have
let's go say hi to the audience. Let's see here.
We have Hasbullah, Jensen, Harsuk, Felix.
Hey, Hasbullah. Hasbullah has an awesome YouTube channel. Yeah. Hey, you know what, Con? I think you like his channel, Hasbullah, because he's a professor for automotive.
Oh yes, Hasbullah. Nas told me about you, bro. Nas told me about you. Yes.
I love it so much because I'm driving manual, and then he recently put out a video about like the downshifting hurt your car. Is it okay?
He's the Malaysian engineering explained lah.
Yes. I actually really like it's so easy to understand his explanation. It makes like dum-dums like me feel like, I can understand. Because sometimes I feel very dumb with very engineering inclined people. but when he puts it in a way, it's like, okay, I can actually see. And it helps a lot when I'm having an older car, like E30, I can see the parts in the car. Yeah. So thanks. Shout out to Hasbullah. I'm just gonna
shout out.
Yeah, if you guys are watching, if you subscribe to Hasbullah, he does great content over there, right? So hi Derek, guys. Please say hi before we start. Let us know that you're here. Let us know where you're tuning in from, and feel free to ask your friends to come and join you guys in this conversation. Because you know what, the numbers are going up. It's better to stay at home. It's safer to stay at home and talk about cars.
Yeah, man.
Right? So you can tag your friends. Feel free to ask questions. We would love to answer your questions. Okay, but we say hi so we can see here. Okay, let's see who else. Jensen, Eugene is asking why is Con wearing Mercedes-Benz t-shirt. Prakash is one of the most famous BMW advisor. He's in Quill, all right.
Oh, and then this guy is a legend.
Birthday today, shout out to him, and I do. Yeah, and I do owe him a drive for my Spider. I did promise him. I did owe him a drive for my Spider, so that's due. All right, happy birthday. Hi Kenneson, young Greg from Singapore, and Daniel. Nice to meet all of you. Okay, so what we're going to do right now is that we're going to talk about the 5 Series. As some of you may or may not know, Con is in love with 5 Series. I think he has 2 5 Series.
We'll talk about that later on. But that being said, if I'm shopping in that segment, the 5 Series will more likely be my choice than the others. The only one that I really love is the E39. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I remember what?
No, go ahead, wait.
No, I remember what you call it, when I was in my teenage years, around my Taman, right, there is this maroon color E39 facelift. All right. So sometimes in the evening when I see that car drive around with the lights on, just the 4 rings, I was like, wow. I see that 4 rings. I told myself, I want to own one in the future.
This car.
Yes.
But I think you didn't own one. You own 2.
Yeah. The second one was a complete joke. Was a total fluke. Didn't even plan on getting it actually, but it somehow landed with me. So yeah.
Tapi ia sudah ditakdirkan. Okay. So anyways, we'll talk about that later on. But today we're going to talk about 5 Series, talk about the lineage. And Con is one of those lucky journalists that get to travel to Europe and get to see the full lineage of the 5 Series. Half a decade of evolution to the G20. And we're going to talk more about that later on. All right?
Yeah.
So without further ado, we have to go for a break because this show is powered by Evo Club Car Wash and Evo Club Insurance. So let's go and have a bit of mention from our sponsors before we continue on. So please go grab yourself a drink, a snack, tag your friends, comment. Hi, Ng Ziyong. Hi, Daniel. Say hi so we can see you, Ruben. Hi, Lassa. Okay, we're going to go for a quick break. When they come back, we're going to start with talking about that media launch in Portugal. Was it Portugal?
Portugal. Yes.
All right, we're going to talk about that media launch over there. Okay, let's go for a quick break and then we'll see you in a minute.
You save about 1,000 plus.
It worked out cheaper for me.
4,000.
215, even more.
It's for 200 plus. 400 bucks of savings.
All right, and we are back. Okay, so we're talking, well, those who just joined us, we're talking about 5 Series, talking about the BMW 5 Series. We're going to talk about the evolution of this amazing piece of vehicle because I think it's one of the stories that I want to learn about because the E-Class is dominant in this segment. And well, then the 5 Series became dominant in this segment. So if you think about this segment, there's only usually 2 cars, which is the E and the 5, which is an epic battle, I feel. And I think it's something that deserves a conversation. That's what we're talking about. Yeah. So if you are tuning in, please say hi, tag your friends to join us and stuff like that. Okay. So yes, let's come and talk about this. Con was invited to the launch of the G30
G30 5 Series. Yeah, I'm still keeping the lanyard from the event. I was with Carlis at the time. I remember getting the invites, and at the time I just joined. I joined Carlis for a year, but that same year was the year that I got married. So so when I joined Carlis, right, a lot of the a lot of the media trips during that first year I was in Carlis, I just passed it on to my colleagues because busy preparing for wedding, shifting house and all that Then when this one came at the end of the year, I said, okay this one
cannot miss.
This one I cannot miss because I was looking, when they sent the invite, they also give us the itinerary. All right. So besides testing the new G30, there's also there's one afternoon that they set for us a driving experience with the classics. I said, oh, that's the one that I'm going for, man. You can test the.
And this is the one, right? This one, right?
I want to go and test drive the classics because these classics that they bring, these are the carefully curated examples that the people at BMW Group Classic, the museum, they preserve. So these are all the super low mileage examples, like for example,
condition.
And at that point in time, would you believe it? At that point in time, I have yet to drive any BMW E39 yet. So I was also curious to go and finally have the chance to drive the E39. Yeah, funny, right?
This drive sealed the deal for you, lah.
Yeah. So I decided, okay, I just went. So we went, and so the arrangements with European media drives always is, you fly in, you land at the airport, and the cars are waiting for you it's parked outside the airport one. So as you land, you collect your luggage, you exit at the arrival hall, you'll be taken to another section of the airport. The cars are parked there waiting for you. But because we were flown in from long distance, from halfway across the world, so BMW flew us in a day earlier, put us up in a hotel in Lisbon. Then the next day, they shuttled us back to the airport to join the proper program. So we got in there early in the morning, got into the cars. I remember it was a G30 540i. The time they put us in the 540i.
Wow, nice.
3-liter inline six, I think about 320 horsepower. They didn't officially sell it. They didn't officially sell it in Malaysia, unfortunately. But that was the variant that they put there. And we drove to the hotel, checked in. And then when we arrived at the hotel, it was that exact scene where the cover image that you use for this show. Yeah. That was the exact scene that greeted us when we arrived.
Oh, must be epic, man.
The whole range of it: E12, E28, E34, E39, E60, F10, and also once we got in there, we checked in. First thing after I showered, I went to the desk and said, "Hey, when this one can test drive ready?" Right. So I can't remember what was the sequence that I drove the cars in. Okay, I think I wanted to drive them in chronological order, but somebody else took the E12 out.
Hold on a minute, before we continue, I want to ask the audience, right? Those who are tuning in, which is your favorite 5 Series? I want to hear in the chat, and I'm going to ask Con later on. Okay, so let's come into here. So what was the first one that you drove?
The first one I drove was the red color E28. That one was the 524 TD.
That's the last shark nose, right?
Yes. It was a 2.4 turbo diesel, manual, 110 horsepower only. So by today's standards, it's slow. But remember that those times cars were a lot lighter. So it had the power to weight ratio of maybe a Honda Civic 1.8 iVTEC, thereabouts, right? So with a manual transmission, it was surprisingly more refined than I thought it would be, being a 30-year-old diesel. Right? diesel, right? So yeah, and at that time, that car was supposed to be the fastest production diesel car in the world at that time.
Wow.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yes. So actually, you guys can go and search on YouTube BMW E13, BMW 5 Series Classics car list. You would find my old video when I was still with car list, that's posted on car list channel.
Wow.
Yeah. So we
Get that
drove,
link out
I
for you
drove
guys.
that. Yeah, and it's it was quite nice rolling through the gears. Of course, we know that these were all the very carefully preserved cars, so we didn't really dare to lanyard them. Also, we just drive slowly. All right, then we just wanted to experience it. Then after we went back, then the next car I drove was the E34. So the E34, we know in Malaysia is always the 520 or the 525, and before that, while I was in Malaysia, my colleague at that time from Carlis also had an E34 520i inline six lah. This exact picture is the car that I drove for, the E28. This red car, beautiful in person, absolutely gorgeous to look at.
I really like the little subtle shark nose.
Yes, digressing a bit, the E28 was the first BMW, was the first car that, when I was growing up, that I recognized as a BMW.
Oh, really?
Yes, that was, and I always, and from the outside, right, I always, at that time, BMW had this very distinctive headrest design one, that is like an M-shaped headrest design one. You see it on the back, there's a BMW headrest. Yes. Okay. So, and at that time in Malaysia, the CKD E28s, they were built in Kuching.
Oh.
They were built in Kuching. And for some weird reason, Malaysia spec E28 had that ugly US spec Bangku bumpers one.
Oh, not this one.
So this is the one that you see in this picture. This is the European spec. But the US spec one, right? They had that, it's that very bulky. It looks like a Bangku one.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I was just watching this movie. What's the movie? I was just watching No Strings Attached. Ashton Kutcher and
yes.
So he was driving in the blue color 5 Series. They have that huge bumper.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And a lot of people say that's an ugly design, but when I was growing up, that to me was the default. That was the default look of the E28 to me, from my perspective, because that was the car that I saw growing up.
So how was it driving this car then? Is the fastest? So the fun fact, guys, those who just joined us, that E28 has the fastest diesel car at that current time. Was it the fastest diesel car, right?
Well, by today's standards, it's no quicker than my Wajah lah. Let's put it that way, right? But it's nice, because, and also this is a very well preserved example, right? So it's like, the gear change is nice, the engine is smooth, the ride, those days they made the ride very plush, very comfortable, and the body control is still very nice. So, I mean, if one day, if I have the cash to spare, I would consider wanting to dabble in an E28. Even though I have to say, at that time when I was growing up, I didn't grow up as a BMW fan, to be frank. I grew up as a Mitsubishi fanboy.
Oh, really? You're an Evo guy?
Yeah, Evo all the way, man.
I'm a Subaru boy. Oh, yo.
Yes, but it is because I grew up as a Mitsubishi fan, right? As an Evo boy. Now in my more mature age, right? Because from that, I've developed a very strong respect for Subaru instead. Yeah. But we are digressing, lah. We are digressing. That's maybe another.
No. Subaru. Yeah. Okay. Anyways,
Subaru, man. Subaru.
Okay, let's check before we continue to the next other. Thanks for sharing. I learned that the E28 has the fastest diesel engine. I didn't know that, but it wasn't sporty, right? The ride, it was more plush than.
No. It was more comfort. I mean, it was smooth in the way it changed direction, but it's not something that you would.
Not like the E30 lah. E30, you just
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at the comments over here before we continue on. Let's see what our audience are saying. So let's see. We ask them which are their favorite 5 Series. Shrita says
E60s.
Derek says F10. KS Tong says F10. Jonathan says G30. Jensen likes the E39. Oh, source on the E60 M5. I do as well. Ruben from Macau says F10. We have E60 again.
E39.
39, E60. We have also another.
A lot of E60s and E39s.
That's funny though. I never particularly see E60 as a good looking 5 Series, you know. Yeah.
I agree with you. I am not a fan of the E60, but I believe the E60 was a crucial model for BMW.
Yeah. We'll talk about that one.
Yeah.
But okay, that's a very cool topic. I would love to expand that with the audience right now. But okay, let's last one. Eugene says had a E34 in family before, 2000cc. Car too heavy for the engine. Just started 2.5 later on. Still a lot of bulk to move the engine. Right? F10 from.
That's why you go to JDMs, right, Eugene?
Rich men play JDM. That's what they say, right?
That's right.
Okay, so after you drove the E28, what was the next car you drive in?
Then the next one was the E34. And the E34 that they brought there also was quite special. They brought the 540i, which is the 4-liter V8.
Oh.
I mean, it's...
there's one for sale now, right?
What?
There's one for sale now, right?
Not the E34. There's the E39 540i that's making the rounds in social media now.
Yeah, okay. I thought it was the E34. Okay.
34 540i. Actually, that time, the time of the E34, this was the M5. You know, during the time of the E34, right, the standard 5 Series had a bigger powertrain than the M5.
Wait, the first M5 was the E34. Was the E28 was the first M5.
The first M5. Yes.
Okay.
Oh my God! I just saw his comment from Sritar. When I was young in my kindergarten, when you say BMW, my mind is just E60. Shit, you went to kindergarten when the E60 was around.
It shows our age.
Young, man.
It shows your age. Your uncle gone.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Okay. All right. So that time, the E34, right? The E34 actually went through 3 engine changes. The first original E34 came with what they call the M20 engine. And that is what that engine, right, is the engine that our Malay friends call the engine ketam because of its distinctive appearance. Why am I hearing? So because the M20 engine had this hey, somebody is what? Am I like hearing an echo of myself?
No, I don't hear any echo.
Wait, I just check if I play like I close all my windows first. Okay, so the air intake of the M20 engine, right? It looks like the shape of a crab one. So our Malay speaking friends call it the engine ketam. That's the M20 engine. But then after that, the E34 got the M50 engine, which is a more powerful. It's a more significantly more advanced engine because the M20 was a single overhead camshaft 12-valve engine. The M50 was the one where they introduced twin cam and 24 valves and a significant hike in output. And after that, they introduced M50 TU, which was the first engine with Vanos technology.
So what is this Vanos technology?
Yeah.
Although I'm a BMW fan, I'm not so well versed with. I heard Vanos. Okay, some people say Vanos is the BMW VTEC.
In a way, yes. Vanos is BMW's version of variable valve timing. So valve timing is they adjust when the valves open. So you decide whether you want to open the valve earlier or you want to open the valve later in the combustion cycle.
Oh.
So the last iteration of the M50 was called the M50 TU. That was where they introduced one-nos. All right, then that's just the 520 and the 525. There are higher variants. There was also like the 530, which initially was a 6-cylinder, then became a V8.
Oh, the 530i.
Yeah. 530i E34. Then there was the 535, which was an inline 6. Then was discontinued and became the 540i. The 540i was a 4-liter V8.
Wow.
Then, but the M5, curiously, was always just a 6-cylinder, 3.6. Early batches and later batches was a 3.8.
So the 540i had more output than the M5?
No, lower output than the M5, but the bigger engine.
Oh, interesting.
From what I read, the 540i was designed primarily for the US market.
Oh.
The US, they have a preference for big engines, large capacity. So the 540i was designed in response to
it makes sense because back then that was the biggest car market in the world, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
That was the 540i.
But the M5 favored straight 6 and also better handling.
Of course, definitely. I remember that time when I drove that 540i, the engine had a very deep engine note about it. But in fact, another journalist who was following with me, curiously at that time he was the then representative of Evo Malaysia.
Oh,
who was following me in another car. He was telling me that even from the closed windows, he can hear the rumble of the 540i's V8. Yeah. So after that, then came the moment I was waiting for the chance to drive the E39. That was really my first time inside and driving an E39.
Now, would you say that one of the things that really distinguish the BMW 5 Series from the E-Class is the engine and the exhaust notes, isn't it?
The engine, definitely. The engine. You see, the thing is that, right?
W123 never boasts great, I mean, they were bulletproof engines, but it wasn't like something that you think of as a car enthusiast.
Yes, I think you got that spot on. Yeah. I think right from the start, the 5 Series always had a sportier appeal to it. It's debatable which is better, but Mercedes, right up to I think at the very least the W212, which the preface is the W212, which they were very honest about. They were always focused on comfort. And you see, the 5 Series, right? At least from the E28 upwards, right? BMW were always very proud. They are 5 Series straight six. But Mercedes never had qualms to give the E-Class a 4-cylinder engine.
Yeah.
Like you see, like the W124 up to the 230E was the 4-cylinder engine. You only get a 6-cylinder with the 260E upwards. And with the 210, 211, they were much faster than BMW in going, 1.8 supercharged, 1.8 turbocharged, to create to deliver the performance that's needed. So Mercedes, the E-Class, I think you're right in saying they were never really about power, a smooth and exciting powertrain. That was always BMW's forte.
It's very interesting to see how like BMW employed a lot of straight 6, even the 2 liters.
Yeah,
and then BMW went with
when AMG touches it, it's different.
Then different story lah.
When AMG touches it, it all goes crazy one. Because AMG, like even right from the time of the W124, they already threw in a V8 inside the 124 already. BMW still had a straight 6 for the M5. And even right now, today, you drive an M5 back-to-back against an E63, right? The E63 is outright brutal. Whereas
the engine is brutal,
yes, whereas the M5, you can treat it and drive it like a 520i. Yeah.
But there's AMG's touch to it lah. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So AMG has always been very, very brutal.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. But coming back to the topic, it's interesting. The E34, like you said, they have a 540i, which is a V8, and then they had the M5, which is a straight 6.
It's just at that time, right? It's just like the E30 or so. The E30 range topped up with the 325, 2.5 liter inline six, but the M3 was a 2.3 liter 4-cylinder.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, in that chassis, I do feel the 4-cylinder or the smaller CZ had a better balance with the car.
Yes, I had the opportunity.
I drove the 325, it feels a bit lazy. You know, the engine feels a bit lazy. And nose a bit heavy. You like to oversteer a bit more, not too confident. But the 1.8 just feels a bit talkier for some reason, even though it's less power. It just feels like it wants to go, you know.
Yeah. The engine is more willing to rev lah.
Yeah, the way I see it is that 325 is a nicer highway cruiser. And if you want to go on a twisty road, I think the 318 just gives you more excitement. And the 318 IS, if you can ever buy one, which is quite rare, and then it's a good one over there. Yeah. But that was that's before the Vanos technology lah. It's just simple M40 B18.
Yeah, man.
Okay, let's not digress away and move away from the 5 Series. Okay. So up to now, Con was talking about. Those of you who just joined, Con is talking about his trip to Portugal for the launch of the G20 and one of the
that was in 2016.
2016, and one of his biggest treat was to drive and touch all this classic, pristine condition.
Not a memory I would forget.
Yeah, I mean like half a decade of 5 Series, like 45 years at the time. Now almost 50 years.
So they had the whole lineup. They had the whole lineup of the 5 Series. E12 right up to F10. For some reason we were not allowed to drive the E60 and the F10, but I was okay with that because I've driven those fairly extensively. But yeah, what I was really looking for at that time was to try the E39 because at that point in my life I have yet to drive an E39 before.
Wow, and that's the car that you're aiming for. Yeah.
Yes, I've always told myself I would buy an E39 one day, but at that time, you know, I was still a bit worried lah. You know, it's like, you know, the usual thing people worry about buying Conti cars. You know, can I afford to maintain it? But the one that I drove was not the one in the picture lah. This is the M5.
So, anyways, Con got to see that full lineage of 5 Series. If you guys think that's awesome, hit the like button. If you're on Facebook, give us some love. Let us know if you would like to be there to experience that, because I mean, with European roads and those cars, I mean, how can it get better?
You know, when I got into the E39 for the first time, I looked at the odometer of that car, right? There was only 4 digits on the odometer, you know. And that was a 1997 example. 96 or 97 example, because it was a single one-off car. So I was like, wow. It was the 96 528i single one-offs.
So it carried on the same engine from the facelifted E34.
No. The E39 started with fresh new engines. E39 did not carry over engines from the E34. Yeah. It was.
So what other technological advancement did the E39 bring? Because I heard the E39 had a huge leap from the E34, right?
Although a lot. But actually, to take a step back, right? If you were to look at the lineage, even the E34 today looks like a very plain Jane, very understated, very unassuming car. But if you just were to cover all the others and you look at E12, E28, right? The E34 itself also was a very, very big advancement. And the E39 was another big step up. Right? So with the E39, what they debuted was that the chassis technology was, I think they used a lot of lightweight technology in the chassis. I think it's aluminum, aluminum chassis. All right. So that brought the weight of the car down. Of course, the whole engine lineup was new. But even then also, the E39 went through 2 engine changes in its lifetime. Right. And it was the first BMW to run advanced. It was the first BMW to run CAN bus technology. So you basically, right? I mean, I was so shocked when I got my own E39 that when I put into reverse, the side mirror knows how to tilt. I mean, that is common today, but I didn't expect that this feature was introduced back in 1996. Right, and it had hidden diagnostic computers that shows you error codes from the ECU. You can pull out error codes just from the instrument
That's
cluster.
when they start introducing electronics to the car lah. Just like the this is when you start seeing electronics showing up in the car, right? Like the E46 and the E39, right?
Yes, but you see, right here in the E39, the electronics were mainly to control the engine. The suspension is all mechanical. The chassis is all mechanical. The steering, the drive line is all mechanical. The electronics merely control the engine and the transmission.
Oh.
So when you drive the E39, it still feels like a very analog kind of car, but with a bit more modernity to it. And the thing about the E39's electronic architecture is that it is sufficiently advanced that today there are still plug and play kits where people will pasang, Android touchscreens into the car, and it works and it interacts with the car's electronic architecture.
Wow, really?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. Yeah. So I mean, like I was looking, and when I got my, and then it has things like what some features like you press the door unlock button, then the windows will come down, but that feature seem to be deactivated in my car lah. And like you see, this is the key to my 525, right?
Yeah.
All right. So this is what they call the diamond key, and but this one is small already one lah. But inside this key is a rechargeable battery. So when you put the key in and start the car, as the engine is running, the car recharges the battery of the remote. So theoretically, you don't have to change the battery. Actually, you can't, because the thing is sealed. But to replace it is 1,000 ringgit lah.
No longer lah. Now you just
and this one is the valet key. So this
the valet key. Oh.
Yeah. So this key can only use to unlock the door and start the engine, but cannot open the boot, cannot open the glove box.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. And the E39 was the first car to introduce, I think it was the first BMW to have Tiptronic. So the early 96, 97 cars, the Tiptronic is you push front to upshift, pull back to downshift. Then somewhere along the way, they flipped out. So it was by the time you reach my examples, it's pull back to upshift, push forward to downshift, which is the commonly adopted practice today lah.
Yeah.
And I think the E39 facelift was the first car that had signature lighting.
Oh, the angel eyes.
Yes. Before that,
is it when they produced the first double Vanos? Is it?
Yes. I'm not sure if the double Vanos engine that debuted in the E39 exactly, but the E39 was the first 5 Series with double Vanos.
So a lot of people talk about the 5 Series lineage. They see the E39 was at its peak of that era, right? Will you say the E39 was, compared to the E34, E28?
Oh yeah, absolutely. As a technological, what you call that? The E39 was definitely a big step up from the E34. And
also the competitors like the W124.
W124 was a rival to the E34. The E39 was the W210. It was the first 4i Mercedes.
Oh, the Taisangan, you say?
Yes.
The Taisangan.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that was the E39. So how was the drive? Did you drove it and then it's a 525, right? The 525.
The one that I went to Portugal to drive, that was a 528 single Vanos. So
after you drove it, then you're like, okay, done deal.
Okay, done. I'm going home. I'm buying one. But it took me another couple of years before I found the right car lah.
Which is the 520i that you have, right? The silver one, the
silver 520i. Yeah.
I'm a sucker for silver lah. I don't know why I'm a sucker for silver. I think it's my age.
Yeah.
When I reach 30 years old, I start seeing silver. It's like, oh, sibei sui. When I'm 20
Yeah,
plus, I'm like,
man.
silver like
No,
uncle
and the
color. Now
thing
I'm
is
30, I
that
love silver.
silver works in most car designs. Most cars,
Yeah.
silver it works on.
Especially Porsches. I think Porsche's GT silver
Oh,
is.
it's especially better when they are paired with a red roof, right?
With the big seats. Okay. So the E36 was the one that made you like say, wow, like that's the one that you want. You aim for it and you
Yes,
got it today, right? Yeah.
yes.
And I think there's something really special about like car aspirations. Like you when you have a car that you really want and then you work towards it and then
yes,
one day it
yes.
becomes it, right?
And
I
the
remember
thing is,
Sydney sitting in I was a Subaru fanboy. I was a JDM fan when I was younger, and then I sat in my aunt's. She worked really hard. She was a real estate agent in Singapore. She bought an E36 and she brought it back to my hometown. And
whoosh,
and I think it was a 325, I believe. And I sat in the
whoosh.
back seat, right? And then when she started the engine, I was like, wow, the engine is so smooth one. What is this engine, you know? Like
Yeah,
when it started, the car didn't shake that much. And
yeah,
then my dad
yeah.
took it for a spirited drive to Gamas, you know, and then I was like,
Mm.
hey, Dad, what is this car? He's like, oh, this is BMW. I'm like, oh, I want a BMW when I grow up now. And then we didn't buy any Subaru.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't get the
So
E36, but ended up with E30 lah.
ah,
Yeah.
yours is going to appreciate faster than yours is appreciating faster than the E36.
Yeah. I just
But
couldn't. I just like the round the analog feel of the car. The E30
yes,
just gives that feeling now.
yes.
And it's a huge departure from the C43, which was very electronic, and then to something so mechanical. It's
All-wheel
just so
drive.
charming. There's so much charm to it, you know. I don't know how to say it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the thing is that, right, you are coming from somebody who owns a Porsche, a Boxster Spider, and you go to your E30 and you're
Yeah, I love it. I don't know how to say it. Okay.
It's
Let's not
great.
digress
It's
away from
great
the
to
5
see.
Series.
I mean, it's nice to see people loving the cars that they own.
I think
Right?
there's a misconception that you have to always have a faster car, but I think to appreciate a car, it doesn't have to be fast. It has to.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I think every car has its own special feel to it, and if you're willing to look close enough, even a Fiat Multipla.
Oh yes.
has its charm, you know, and I think you
How's
have
that
to
coming
look closely enough. We can't travel across the border, but I would love to. Okay, I love to do it because it's a challenge I've promised Tana to do. But you know, it will challenge my amateur detailing skills. But I think it's just a fun content to do lah. I'm looking forward to that. Yeah.
I think there'll be an epic story to tell if you guys.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Okay, so we talked all the way. Those guys just joined. Me and Con were talking about his visit to Portugal on the launch of the G30, and he got to see the lineage of 5 Series. And the first car that he drive was the E28, which was known to be the first M5 in when M5 was introduced in E28, and also the fastest diesel was then. And then he went on to the E34, right, which he drove the 540i, the V8. And that one was the highlight of that category was I learned that the 540i was the V8, and then the M5 had a straight 6. Interesting. And then the one that Con drove and fell in love with was the E39, the one that he aimed when he was a younger kid, a maroon E39.
I mean, I remember liking how the car looked, but that experience was like, hey, this car doesn't only look good, it drives properly well. You know, it did not people always say don't meet your heroes, otherwise you'll be disappointed. But that car didn't disappoint
you,
yeah?
No. Yeah. So that's the lineage of 5 Series that Con had to drive. And I think it sounded as the E39 for me as I'm listening to you. The highlight was there's a lot of technological advancement in the keys, the electronics, and it was the car that really gave I think Mercedes a run for his money. Yeah. So yeah, we're gonna go for a quick break because it's really 30 minutes of just talking about these 3 cars, right?
Yeah,
We'll go
man.
for a quick break, and when we come back, we're gonna continue on this journey of Did you actually drive the E12?
Oh yes.
Wow, okay.
That was the end of it.
Hold on.
So,
Okay, after the break, I'd like to hear about the E12. All right.
yes.
So stay tuned after the break. I would love to hear about the E12 because I love how to hear the origin story. So that's
Oh,
the
yes,
thing
yes.
that I like about
That was the car
cars.
that started
the
it
whole
all.
lineage, right? Yeah. So while you're watching this, we're gonna go for a quick break. When we come back, we're gonna talk about Con's experience with the E12, the great grandfather, the Alpha. Okay, the way it all started, the E12, and experience after the break. Okay, and while we're waiting for the break to come back, please let us know in the chat what was your favorite 5 series. A lot of E60s there, a lot of F10s over there. Let us know what was your favorite 5 series. And we come back in the break in a moment. We'll read through all the comments, give you a little shout out, and then we talk about the E12. Okay, let's go for a quick break.
Really too much for me.
What'll I do? What'll I do? What'll I do?
All right, so quick shout out to Evo Club Car Wash. As Connor was saying, we're looking for investors, looking for operators. It's a good way to start a business. For investors, it's a great way for you to expand multiple sources of income. Now, if you want to enjoy more cars from a guy who loves finance and money, you need to have multiple sources of income, and one of it is to find business, right? And
Yes.
you got to find a business that you like and you understand. So if you like cars and you like car wash, explore this opportunity. And for those of you who may not have the capital to start a business, you know what you have?
Join us
You
as
have
an
time.
operator.
You have effort. You can be an operator, right? So don't think about how much money you're making with washing the cars. Think about what kind of income you can make over the next 4 or 5 years, right?
Correct.
So as an ex-car car wash operator, I also used to manage a business. This is arbitrage. I'm not saying this because I'm part of Evo Club team. I just think that having a mobile wash kind of hacks the system. So I'm really excited to see more and more people doing this. So it's a quick shout out to that. All right. Evo Club Car
Thanks.
Wash. Pro Nano, I used it. I love it as well. Makes car wash so simple. Okay. Okay. So let's hear in the comments over here. Let's see over here. Let us know what is your favorite F30. Okay, Derek is asking, which is your favorite 5 series? I actually do like the E34 because I think it's the last one that before it started looking like I just like the E30, right? My current E30. So
Right.
the E34 reflects the E30 in a way. It's like the big brother. Okay.
Yeah.
But then the
Yeah.
E39 is like the E36. Like, there's a new. I think it's a great departure from the E30 and E34.
Yeah.
But it just lose a bit of the classic feeling.
Yes.
Now,
yes,
I've never
it does.
driven the E34 before. I don't know how it feels like, but I've always heard great things about the 540i, the V8. So because of that, it's my favorite 5 series. And to go on YouTube and listen to some of the exhaust growling, like, vroom, vroom, like stock
Whoosh.
exhaust, So if I ever want to get the 5 series, it'll be the 540i from the E34. It's something
Oh.
charming about that car.
Oh,
And park it next to my E30.
wow, sweet. Sweet.
Yeah. Let's see over here. Lesser 10. F10. Got an F10 over here. Why no one
F10.
mentions G30, right?
Now you mentioned now.
Yeah, you like the G30, great. Look, everyone likes different things. I guess
Yeah.
I just like we just like the older ones here. We're all uncle. I think basically what we're trying to say, we're uncles now. Uncle. All right, Rex here says F10. Oh,
E60 M5, Nakudin.
you see, the E60 is conflicting for me. It looks like
Yes.
something, but the M5 got a V10. The car sounds insane.
Yes, 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 yes.
All right. John Calvin Koo says the E34 520. All right. Will Con own the M5 in the future?
Pray for me.
All right. Let's make it work. Let's make it work financially.
Make it work.
Everything.
Let's make it work. You guys, more of you guys sign up as Evo Club car wash operator, then they'll push me closer to that.
Sign up for Evo Club car wash when you want to see Con achieve his. Which M5 would you get though? If you
Oh, E39, of course.
You are E39.
But I will, if that happens, I will sell my two now lah. I'm not gonna have three at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see what else. E30 is still new lah, bro. Okay, great. Hi Brandon, hi from Singapore. Guys, if you're tuning in, we're talking about 5 Series.
Oh, Wang also say
we talk about the E34, we talk about the E39, and now we're going to talk about the E12. Sorry, Con, you were saying something?
No, Wang Jetty said the M5 that Ethan Hunt drove in Mission Impossible. That, I think if I remember, that's the E28, right? If I remember correctly.
Can't recall that.
All right, never mind.
Yeah.
All right,
yeah,
so
we'll
the E12.
All right. Anyways, let us know where you're tuning in from. Say hi. We can read your comments. We've been going on for a while. We're going to push another 20-30 minutes. So let us know where you're tuning in from, right? Let's continue. So Con get to drive the Big Daddy, the first E12 in pristine condition, wasn't it?
Yeah. It was a 528, no I, because it was a car. Because that engine had a carburetor. So when you see I in a BMW badge, it means injection.
Whoa, yeah. Right. Back in the days, it's injection. Yeah.
That time, it's not.
So the first gen really had injection already.
Yes. So I remember when it was launched, I remember reading about it. They had a 520 carburetor and a 520i injection. But I think that time was probably mechanical fuel injection lah. So then at that time it was, I think the 520 was still like a 4-cylinder engine one. It was like later when they introduced the 525. Chris V had a 525 that he bought and sold and bought and sold again. But the example that I drove in Portugal at that time was a 528 carburetor, 3-speed, and it was a time when they actually had the car actually had an automatic badge on the boot unit.
Because automatic was a luxury, was it?
Yes. So I mean, it was a slow car lah. It was a slow car. It was smooth, very smooth. Despite its age, the transmission, was smooth. Ride is basically, it was a very smooth operator. It was closer in spirit to a Mercedes E-Class of today, all right, than it was a 5 Series. But at that time, by the standards of those days, I reckon this was what they really consider quite sporty already. And this example that you see here is the pre-facelift model, I believe. Yeah. So,
this
you can
is the
see
exact same car that Con driven.
Yes.
MSD 528H from that day. Yeah.
Yes. These were all taken on that location. These were all taken from that location. So so it was. I mean, in isolation, it's not something really great, but it's special lah. It's nice. It's pleasant. It shows that this was the car that's laid the foundations of what the 5 Series become today.
But I'm looking at the figures right now. It had a M30B28 carburetor, right?
Yeah.
It was a 2.8 liter carburetor and 165 PS.
Yeah.
Now, in 1970s, right? I think that kind of number on a family sedan or an executive sedan is quite a big number, isn't it?
It is.
Because I remember that even in the my dad, because I complained to my dad, hey, Dad, my E30 on dyno has 78 horsepower. I said, Dad, my car no power. He's laughing with his friend. Both were laughing, you're both drinking. He said, hey, Thomas, you guys are sport for power. You got a Golf GTI with 240 horsepower,
Exactly.
Back in the days, I had my first car was a Ford Capri. The guy got and then he had a Datsun, Daihatsu Charman, right? Heavy ass car, 30 horsepower. Then he said, you guys are sport for power. And that's in the 80s, That's the 80s.
Yeah.
Then if you think in the 70s, you have a car with 140 horsepower or 160 HPS. So it's actually quite fast, isn't it? Back in those days.
It is fast for its time. It is fast for its time. I think that that era, right? The 528 was probably one of the range-topping variants of the E12. I think E12, the highest it went was the M535. The M535i. Then there was also a 530 MLE that was built exclusively by South Africa.
Oh.
Then I think the next one down is the 528 already.
Let me take a look here. I'm looking at the figures. There's the M535i, and guys, in 1980s, so this is when it came out, 1980, the production, 1980, 1981, and at 218 PS.
Yeah. That's the fastest they had. That is the fastest that they had.
I mean, it's quite a lot, and to think that what? Okay, how much the Testarossa had? Testarossa had what, 280 horsepower, something like that, right?
Thereabouts. I remember the M5 E28 was good enough to murder many supercars, of its era, and that only had what?
Yeah, and then to think like imagine this when you're at that time, you look at the magazine and you're like, well, that can't be right. I think the automotive journalist was written it wrongly because the numbers look more like a supercar. But
yeah. But today an M5 hits 600 horsepower or 500 when 600 500 horsepower, we don't feel a thing. And there are people who say 400 not enough horsepower.
This is the day we live in. We are sport for power. My dad always say we are sport for power. Yeah,
it is.
Yeah. So yeah, that's quite impressive. So the 528, you say you felt more comfortable than it was sporty, right?
Yes.
But there was a departure because you went from the twin E39 into the E12, correct?
Yeah, back to the E12 because everybody were jostling to take the cars, so we just had to take whichever that came our way.
So which was the car that all the journalists wanted to drive, like more than anything?
I think it was the mix, honestly. I think a lot of them wanted to drive the E12. Most of them wanted to drive the E12 because that was the one that is most difficult.
Yeah, the granddaddy. Okay. Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, man.
So what is about the E12 can you tell us about? Because I don't think I'll ever, not yet, I don't know when I'll ever get a touch of E12.
No, not that much because
because
when I drove the E12 out, it was getting dark already, so I didn't spend that much time with that car compared to the other three.
What an epic journey, isn't it?
Epic.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely one of my most memorable media outings in this line of work.
How about the E60 and the F? Do you drive the? I mean, obviously you drove an F10, but how about the E60? Didn't you get to drive the E60?
E60 not on that day. E60 and F10 we didn't drive on that day, but I mean I drove the E60 a few times in Malaysia, and it's
Let's talk about the E60. Let's talk about this then. The E60, I believe, for me, is the most controversial design. I think Chris Bangle was doing it. What is Simon? Can we show a picture of the E60? For me, it's the most controversial. For me, I look at it, it's like, oh no, it looks so horrible. But there is something about the E60 you must like. Is the M5 with a V10 engine. Ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. I think the E60.
How many E60 fans over here can just shout out on the chat? E60 fans over here. So you shared something interesting about the E60. Yeah.
I am definitely not a fan of the E60. But I think you have to acknowledge that this, out of all the variants of the 5 Series, it's the most flamboyant. It's the one with the most flair, and I feel it was the most important member of the lineage because I feel that the E60 was the car that propelled BMW to overtake Mercedes as the best-selling premium car in the world at that time.
Really? So this car overtook Mercedes.
I think this car was primary because you see, right? The E60. Say what you want about its design, right? But until today, the design cues in this car are still influencing car design.
Huh?
Yeah, I mean the polarizing nature of the E60's design was a talking point. All right, and you know the way that how BMW managed certain curves, how they play with, you know, the panels. Even today, people are still taking inspiration from the E60. Because the E60, right, it's a bit jarring in its appearance. So I think as much as I today am a fan of the E39, if I were to look back in my youth, I think the E60 was the car that made me sit up and take notice of BMW as a brand for its design. Yeah, right. I'm not a fan of its design, but the sheer jarring nature of its looks, right, makes you pay attention to it. And you see, after how it evolved from the E60, the F10 was a more conservative effort. It was far more conservative effort, and you can see that the F10 was designed, okay, because the E60 was designed with a point of proof. They wanted to shock and awe, but after they achieved that leadership with the E60, the F10 was the car they then designed to consolidate their leading position. So you can see that the F10 was a far more conservative design in comparison. Like what people say, F10 feels like a logical progression from the E39.
Well, I think there's a love-hate relationship, and I think a lot of people who are journalists, they either criticize or they speak very highly of Chris Bangle. Chris Bangle was the designer, wasn't it? Yeah, they obviously he bangled it up. You know, he bangled the the BMW. But now I'm hearing he had a very, to think about it, right? I think it's late 1990s or the early 2000s, right? And I think the buyers were Gen X people.
All right. And you see, until today, we are still talking about Chris Bangle's design. Chris Bangle today is no longer designing cars for a living anymore, you know.
Sorry? So I disconnected. What you're saying about that?
No, I say until today, we are still talking about Chris Bangle's car design. But the fact is, Chris Bangle is no longer designing cars for a living anymore. But
he did have a tough task. He had to shock the world. Someone had to do it.
Correct. And I think as much as I am not a fan of the E60, I think the E60 was an important car for BMW. Hello? Am I disconnected or Thomas?
I'm back. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Sorry about that. Sorry, guys. Minor interruption over there.
I just wanted to make sure whether it's you or me who disconnected.
No, it's me. Yeah, sorry about that. Okay, so Chris Bangle was the one who designed the E60, which was controversial, but E60 is the one where they start overtaking BMW, Mercedes.
Yes,
so
yes.
Starting to beat Mercedes at where they do well. It's that segment, the D segment, right? Yeah.
But Mercedes always had the S-Class segment to itself. That one.
That is you cannot argue. That one is theirs.
Yeah. However, whatever BMW does with the 7 Series, they can't beat the S-Class.
Yeah. I mean, even the statement S-Class, that's it. Yeah. That's how powerful it is. Yeah. But the E60, I heard I've driven some of them. It actually handles when you're driving in a car. Wow. Yeah. I mean, you feel it's a big car, but at no means it feels clumsy.
Yes. The E60's dynamics is actually very, very good.
All the E-classes I've driven, they somehow feel a bit clumsy sometimes, and as if they don't want to reward you for driving fast or taking the corners fast. But the E60 right, is so big, right? Then you take the corners, it's like, wow.
Oh, yes. The E60 can handle. The E60 handles very, very well.
Yeah, and I think that's a testament to, again, like what BMW does best is to make normal cars feel fun to drive, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I know a good friend of mine. She, her husband, late husband who passed away. He
Oh.
spoke so highly about the E60. Like he just loved his is a 530i, and
Ooh.
yeah, and the now the husband has passed. The wife refused to sell the car because it was they had a lot of great moments driving the car together. But the husband spoke about the car as was like it was like for him it was like the dream now, you know, like for him he was a banker coming up, and then he got his first E30 and then the E60, and just to hear like from him going from Japanese to that car was like a, you know, for him it was like a dream come true, you know. And and I got to drive the exact car, and I was like, whoa, I can see why this guy would splurge all the money just to maintain this car, because there is some charm inside the car. From the outside, not really, but when you're driving it, right, it's special. It feels so soft. I don't know how to explain it. Just there's this sort of smoothness, intuitive feel when you're steering the car. You know, there's this intuition that it's so finely tuned. I just love it. I love it. Yeah. But would you ever buy E60? That's the question I'll ask.
E60 doesn't appeal to me, so unlikely. I acknowledge its role, but it doesn't. The car doesn't appeal to me.
Oh, but that's something I learned interestingly today. The E60 was the one that helped BMW overtook.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
The Mercedes.
I think that was.
Guys, I hope you guys enjoying the conversation so far. If you do, let us know in the chat that if you're enjoying it, and also give us some love, some thumbs up on your Facebook, or smash the like button and stuff. Okay, let's talk about the last one, which is before the G30, the two last ones.
The F10.
F10. So this is the F10, the way more conservative departure from the flamboyant. How did you feel when this car came out? Because I don't quite like it, you know.
The F10, interestingly, is the car that I think I reviewed the most in my career. I reviewed, I can count for you. From the day one that F10 was launched, I reviewed the 535, I reviewed the 523, 528. Then later when they introduced the turbo, I reviewed the 528 again, the 528 2.0 turbo, the 520i, the M5, the active hybrid 5, the 520D, and basically the Hanka I reviewed already of the F10. Yeah.
So how did you feel about the F10?
Okay, let's put it this way. Today, if I were car shopping, right, the F10 is a car that I would consider if I am, if I find something that fits my budget, all right? But it's not something that I would buy and cherish the way I cherish my E39s. It's something I would buy and use because I think it's a good car. It will make a good workhorse, but it wouldn't give. I don't think it will give me the same kind of feeling as the E39.
Not even the 528.
No. If I buy the F10, it will be a 535. At least.
3.6 lah.
Cannot lah. 4-cylinder. Cannot lah.
I get what you mean. I get what you mean, man. I had a M235i.
Yeah,
and just even in comparison to the AMGs, where the AMG had better engines, but there's this feeling of revving a 6-cylinder. You know, even though there's this feeling about it. There's this aggressiveness, but the smoothness is come from the aggressiveness. It's hard to explain, you know. There's the structure of a 6-cylinder.
But I have to say one thing: the F10, right? The handling of the F10 is best when it comes with a 4-cylinder engine, because I believe BMW developed that chassis for the balance of a 4-cylinder engine. So with the straight six, right, the engine is nicer, but the turn in, the front end turn in is not as satisfying as the 4-cylinder. So if to value handling, right? Actually, the 520 or the 528, they have better handling than the six-cylinder engines.
But power, of course, and the
Power,
smoothness.
the 528 is actually the 528 four-cylinder actually is a very good sweet spot for the F10. But
For me, the
I just
F10
like the
felt.
mechanical of more cylinders.
For me, the F10 felt really big. For me, like
Yeah,
it started to feel okay. The E60 was like okay, it's a big car, but the F10 started to feel a bit more like starting to feel a bit more like a yacht already. Like it's the beginning of like a. That's where I kind of dislike the F10 because it started to feel a bit like a yacht, especially under hard corners. You
Correct.
start to feel like like how come so much weight on
But the thing is that, right, the F10, throughout its product lifespan, I think it was still a class leading car.
Yeah, I mean, no doubt. It's like you say, like they do everything so well. Like it's such a great workhorse and carry people. It's comfortable. It's enough power.
Yes.
It's such a logical car, right?
It is. Yeah. But but it's a car that I would buy to use, but it's probably something with the mind. Oh, okay, I'll buy this car 3-4 years. It's going to be something else. That kind of feeling.
Let's take a look at some of the comments before you go on.
Lexus Man is here.
Lexus Man say, "Hello, Beamer is the best." Then why are you driving Lexus? Why are you driving a Lexus?
This guy, I tell you right. That time I tell him, hey, consider E90 lah. For 30-40K, and he buy the Fleur, right, must buy Lexus for double the money.
HB, I let you drive my E30 for a while.
What?
Yeah, I tell HB, if you're listening, I let you drive my E30 for a while. All right, let's look at some of the comments. They say, according to a friend, even the E60 520i NA can corner well. Yeah, I'm pretty sure, man.
The E60 520 shares the same engine as my E39.
The 6-cylinder, yeah.
6-cylinder, the M54.
Oh yes, I agree with RS. The E60 M5.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think
ridiculous.
No arguments there.
I mean, you look at the car, it's like, okay, it's an executive car, and then it goes, boo! It's like, eh? Like
no arguments. The E60, the F10, the V10 will definitely go down as one of the all-time great powertrains.
It's the most ridiculous. We have active hybrid in Malaysia. A couple of
I reviewed that car on Malaysian Soul before. Yes,
I always see it in Plaza Batai. There's one that always comes in Plaza Batai. I see you all the time.
Yeah. But
very little of them.
Very rare. I would still just get a regular 535.
Con's profile pic once was him drifting the F10 M5. Interesting. All right. Were you swearing while you're drifting? No.
No lah. That time not doing video so no lo. No lah. It was not drifting lah. It was just taking a corner lah.
Right. This is what Wong JD is saying. The E60 V10 is to show off. Possibly it does have a reminiscence of that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Force sound like crap. I have to somewhat agree with you. I drive an E30 318i. It does sound a bit rattly, but it's not a bad rattle. But I think it's not that it's a bad sound in the E30. It's just the 6 is just so good that makes the 4 sound bad. I think that's what it is.
4 cylinders. Well, all I would say to that is avoid the E46 and E90 4 cylinders. The N24 turbo 4 cylinders, they don't sound great, but they are all right. But yeah, I mean, 4 cylinders sound, not saying they don't sound good, but yeah, BMW, I don't think they made a nice sounding 4 cylinder engine now that you say it.
Yeah, but I'll ask you a question. Okay, before we go into the G30, right? Now you're an engineer. Why is it that a straight 6 feels and sound different than a V6?
Oh, it's because of the science behind it is complex, but simply put, a straight 6 is naturally balanced. The straight 6 has a natural balance, whereas a V6 is basically 2-3 cylinders put together like that.
Yeah.
So it has more or less the same kind of balance, mechanical balance, as a 3-cylinder engine you get in an Axia or Beza. But whereas a straight six,
But because V6, right? Isn't it like
yeah,
the
you
opposite?
still have 6 cylinders.
Well,
Yeah, you still have 6 cylinders, right? But the thing is that your pistons are moving this way and this way, ma. All right. All right.
or
So
creating different kind of
the
vibrations.
correct. Whereas the inline six, your pistons, all right, your front and rear pistons, they move in a sort of like a mirror image of each other. So it's certain forces are
Cancels out
cancelled.
the
Yes.
vibration.
So that's why that's why BMW apparently what they say is that over the years, right, over the last 40-50 years, BMW every once in a while they build V6 prototypes, but they never make it into production because they can never achieve the dynamic properties that the straight six can give them with a lot less engineering effort.
But you know what? That's what I really appreciate about what BMW is doing is that they fight hard to keep this heritage. They fight hard to keep their belief that this is the right way to do things. And I appreciate it. I appreciate it. And some people say arguably that the V6 has better weight distribution for the car because it's softer. But they just refuse to do it because it's just something that
you see. The thing is that V6 makes sense if you are doing front wheel drive. Because it's shorter, man. So you put on a transverse mounting, it sits nicely inside there. Whereas if you are rear wheel drive, your engine sits lengthwise to send the power to the rear.
Yeah.
So V6 or straight six doesn't actually matter in the context of a rear wheel drive car. For packaging where packaging is concerned, lah.
Also, that's why you have, because it's a mirror image of up and down, so it cancels out each other's vibration. That's why you have that buttery smooth acceleration.
Correct.
And the drivetrain, the drivetrain all the way to the rear doesn't shake that much, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And inline six,
the V6 have to design counterbalance for the vibration, right?
Correct. And the thing is that, right, early V6s, they design it by taking off the last 2 cylinders of a V8. So V8, right, the natural balance for V8 is to angle the cylinders in 90-degree banks.
Yeah.
But for V6, the best is actually 60 degrees.
Oh.
Yeah. So
if you take it from the V8, then you're screwed lah.
I wouldn't say you're outright screwed, but you have a lot more work to do in order to achieve the dynamic balance. Not impossible.
It's engineeringly more difficult to
correct.
Build
it's like using Photoshop versus Microsoft Paint. You can do it, but your job is harder.
Got it. Because I was thinking now with turbocharging, you have the V6 and then you can fit the turbocharger in between.
Correct,
the pipes
correct.
are nearer,
I mean, there are a lot of brands that make properly good and smooth V6s. So Lexus is one of them.
Yeah.
Right. Then there's the Alfa Romeo 2.9 V6. Audi made some good V6s also. The 3-liter supercharged.
Even the Mercedes, they did pretty good V6 as well.
The Mercedes C43 V6, I think it's a very, very nice V6 engine.
Yeah. But still, I'll be honest. If I've owned the C43 and M235i. The 6-cylinder just have that. It's like a when you drive it when you drive it, it. It's just smoother and buttery. There's something buttery about it. The V6 sounds a bit more like rough,
But that Mercedes AMG V6 is very enthusiastic performer, I would say.
Oh, extremely. I think it's more exuberant than the Street 6. Yeah.
So I think it's the highlight of the car, to be honest.
Oh yeah, for sure. Okay, let's go on to the last one. Okay, let's go on to the G30. So how do you think that BMW has arrived today with G30 with that whole lineage?
I think the G30 is a testament of the F10's success. You can see that it's a very evolutionary path that BMW took. It's almost like how you look this one actually mirrors the progression from the E12 to the E28, in which you park an F10 and an E6 and a G30 side by side, you know it's one generation after the other. Whereas if you put an E28 next to an E34, or 34 next to a 39, or 39 next to 60, 60 next to F10, right? It's like they tear the copybook apart every time. But this one, the first time in a long time that they seem to be taking an evolutionary approach in terms of the design. But I mean, with the G30, I've driven the of course I went for the media drive there. I drove the 540i. I also had the chance to drive the 530D X drive, 3-liter diesel inline six all-wheel drive.
Mm-hmm.
Then when I came back to Malaysia, we drove the 530i that was launched here, and and I took that 530i to Genting, and immediately my revelation at that time was that the F10, before it was discontinued, was still class leading in terms of dynamics, despite what we say about it how it's less agile than the E60, but the F10 at that time was class leading in its dynamics. But the G30 made the F10 feel like a boat in comparison. The G30 just handles so much better than the F10. Especially as the 530i lah, because lighter engine up front, so it's more agile, more easy to change direction.
It for me, both the F10 and the F10 and the G30 for me feel like a boat lah, compared to like say the E60 lah.
Of course. Because the thing is that E60 was made at a time where E60 was starting to have a lot more electronics already, but did not have the same kind of requirements that the F10 and G30 had to deal with. True.
Yeah. But I think also they have to respect that the majority of people who buy the G30 they need that kind of like this dynamics lah. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It is a business decision as well. It is I would say,
absolutely.
Yeah. But I guess like have you driven the M5 from the G30 or what they call the G?
They call it the F90. Only on
F90,
track.
yeah.
Only on track.
On track.
Only on track.
So I think they preserve a lot of that in the F90, right? The spirited. How was it the F90 on the track?
It's very easy to drive. It's a very easy car to drive fast, just like most performance cars these days. So I mean, your E60 V10 M5 will out drama this any time of the day.
I get that because one of my friends, good friend of mine, he used to drive a Golf R, stage 4. So he was going to buy a CLA 45 Vishnu. He showed up in one of the pictures in Horizon. And then we booked in a CLA 45S. He couldn't get it all the way. Like, he waited super long. He got like impatient. He's like, you know what? Screw Mercedes. And then he got himself young chap. So it was quite surprising when he suddenly showed up with an M5 competition. Woo! And that was the day that we drove. It was super wet. I was driving my E30. And then Bobby drove his RS6. And then these two boys were just having a good fun time together. But he says that the car is the engine performance is unbelievable. The way it pulls and pulls, like you don't know where is the end of the power performance, the power band. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. But I think if let's say the E63 has more drama than the M5 any day.
E63, really?
E63 AMG. But then again, I've not driven the M5 competition, so I think I have to reserve my.
Well, you did see the only trouble he has is that on highway, if you drive 120 or like drive slower or 120, like it starts to shake a lot on the highway. But if you drive faster, then it's very steady, so it makes you want to speed on the highway. It's interesting. It's very interesting. So, but it is a lovely car. The way he spec it, the way he does the detailing of the small.
You bought it official from BMW Malaysia or recall?
I never asked him, but it's a second hand for sure. He's like me. I like to buy second hand. But he blacked out a lot of parts, so it makes it look very stealthy. You wouldn't even able to tell whether it's a 530 or whether it's a whether it's the M5 competition, which I like a lot. I think that's what the charm
Sounds like
of,
my kind of car.
yeah, and I think like there's something about BMWs in the olden days where the M cars and the non-M cars didn't have much difference. I kind of like that actually.
I
like
like
the fact
that
that
too.
it's healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah, like even the old RSs from the Audi and the old
Yeah.
63s from the Mercedes, that you wouldn't able to tell until you start speeding past, you start hearing the exhaust, right? You know.
Yeah.
So the G30 for you felt it was a way better handling car than the F10.
Oh, well, easily. And
what
like
does the G30 stand out for you?
what?
What does the G30 stood out for you?
I think the interior, big step up from the F10. Big step up from the F10. So let's put it this way. Just now you asked me about my opinion about the F10, right? So I think I like the F10 as a car, but it's a car that I won't regret missing out, never owning it, because I think I can get the same or better in the G30.
Some people did complain that the G30 feels a bit more Camry-ish. Not say Camry is a bad car, but it's just very uncorrected. How do you feel about that statement?
It's a very comfortable car to ride in. The ride is absurdly comfortable for what's supposed to be a sports sedan.
But is it out to out?
What do you think? 20-inch wheels, thin tires, right? It's unnaturally comfortable.
So do you think it's too un-BMW? Do you think they lost their plot over there with this?
No, I still remember my Genting run with the car. I think that car is very agile. It handles well. It's a car that, you know, if a good deal comes along, and I wouldn't mind buying one to use as a workhorse.
Well, my impression of that car, because when I owned my my C43, when I sent to the workshop, they let me drive. They gave me an E-Class for a courtesy car, and the only thing I curse about that car is it's a comfortable car, and the interior is different than the BMW. It's for me, I think it's nicer. I just like the design, but the quality is better. But the only problem I always have with the E-Class is I don't know where the front wheel is pointing when I'm driving spiritedly. I cannot trust the front wheel. It's like you don't have the intuitive feel of the steering.
Yeah.
You know? But the G30 has it. For me, at least that is the point where I feel like the G30 is a better car, because when I'm driving fast, I know where the steering is pointing. I feel confident going fast. Right?
And actually,
where the E-Class is just like, you don't want to drive fast. There's no reward for driving fast.
Actually, I feel the G30's cabin is more solidly built than the E-Class.
That's strange, isn't it? I sat in the back seat and asked someone to drive me around. I like the G30 rear seat better, And I flew to India a lot. I do business a lot. I flew to India a lot. I actually realized that I used to arrive in the hotel, always say like, hey, can you send an E-Class to me, right? But but I end up loving the G30's back seat more than the E-Class. That's strange, isn't it? That's actually really strange. I actually prefer the rear seat of an E-Class and the G30 more than the E-Class.
Yeah. I think BMW is very good
strange.
all-rounder.
Very strange.
Very good all-rounder in the G30.
Yeah.
Very good all-rounder.
All-rounder. So for you, you think is the best all-rounder around the whole range, lah? Yeah.
Yeah.
So you think it's the best all-rounder in the whole range, lah, for the lineage of 5 Series?
Oh yeah, the best modern. Yeah. I think definitely yes.
Cool. Yeah. All right, I mix, but I guess it's also, but you can't argue the numbers. The G30 does very well in sales globally. Yeah. So yeah, let's look at the comments a little bit. Michael Chan says, Con, which C segment car has similar comfort like the G30? G30 is a bit too big for me. So what would you answer to Michael Chan over here?
C segment car. Maybe the G20, but avoid the M Sport model. 320i or M340i. Because the G20, the 320i has comfort suspension, quite quite well tuned. All right. 330i is ridiculous. I avoid that. M340i if you can afford the budget. Yeah. So I mean, if you want to say similar comfort with power, the car that comes to mind my immediate mind is the G20 320i 184 horsepower.
I think for me, I own the Z43, I own the M235i. The 330i, to give you a perspective, the 330i's sports suspension was harder than the M235i.
It's ridiculous. I don't understand I don't get what they were doing with the 330i.
I actually am really confused. Yeah, I step up. I remember the day I drove my M235i to the to Ingress, and I test drive the 330i, and I got out from the car and I got back into my M235i. Okay, the M235i was the sportiest before the M, right? So you think that is that the suspension is, and then I was driving my car. I'm like, oh my god, this car is so much more comfortable than the 3 Series, the M3 Series. It's ridiculous.
It's awesome. Cannot laugh.
Yeah.
It's too harsh for day-to-day use.
Yeah, but the M340i felt more comfortable than my C43. That's a bit strange, and yet it handles better. It's more intuitive in its drive. It allows you to drive a bit more aggressive. It rewards you for driving a bit more.
Yeah, actually, if I must buy a new BMW from today's lineup, I think I would pick the M340i.
Yeah, I think the M340i. I think if you wait 1 year, if you don't mind secondhand, I think you can get a good price in a year's time.
Absolutely don't mind secondhand.
Yeah. I think the M340i is. The back seat is big enough, it's comfortable enough. Suspension
actually, awesome. The funny thing is that day when we were at the 3 Series long wheelbase launch, right? I was making this point. I say that, for the first time, BMW had a standard 3 Series with decent legroom and decent rear accommodation, and you decide, okay, this is the time we are going to stretch it and make it a long wheelbase for you.
Yeah. And I was expecting that day, I was like, okay, I'm pretty sure they'll offer adaptive suspension. But no adaptive suspension. Interesting.
No.
Very interesting. We'll see how it feels like.
I hope it's a more comfort tuned suspension.
I really hope so too. Yeah. Let's see what Kenneth is saying. Is drive to the G30 recently was underwhelming. The E39 felt more fun to drive. I think older cars have that. It was what the people wanted back then. Yeah, it's true. I agree with that.
Absolutely.
All right. Okay. So thanks for sharing your whole lineage. Wow, we spent an hour and a half talking about this, man.
Yeah, man.
Okay, we're gonna end this pretty shortly, but as how we end, we always play a game called Dude, Where's My Car?
Right. Let's see what we have today.
So let's see how we can stress out Con with this game. And for those of you who don't know this game, Dude, Where's My Car is where I invite my guests to pick between two cars, which I pick. And that's thanks to Simone, who she designed this very beautiful design over here. So we pick two cars, and then my guest and I have to pick a car. My guest goes first.
All right.
Because that's the guest. And then feel free to join in with us as well. We have two cars, and then when you pick this car, you have to justify why you pick this car. Feel free to join us with this over here, okay? So let's go. First one over here. Now, would you before that, Con, you ready, right? You ready?
Yes. I'm waiting for you.
Okay, let's go. Okay, now I know you recently test drive the Yaris GR, and I know you love the GR Yaris because by the video you're driving, you were expressing a lot of enthusiasm and exuberance driving the car.
Yes.
So for the kind of price, would you get a Toyota GR Yaris, or would you get something that is you can say it's natural rival, the FK8R? Because both of them are impressive Japanese cars.
Yeah.
Now let us know in the comments below, those of you watching, which one would you pick? Let us know in the comments, and why would you pick the car that you pick? So Con, what would you pick? Both manual, both are Japanese, very sporty, very racing, or we can say like very sporty, very out of the, What you
Very,
think?
yeah.
Almost same price.
Almost same price. Mm, not an easy choice. I'm, my instinct says GR Yaris, but I can't explain my choice just yet. Okay, to be fair, the FK8 is not a bad car. The FK8, right, is, but the thing is that the FK8, right, when you buy the FK8, you're always thinking, you are getting something that is a shadow of the FD2R,
Oh.
right? Right. But with the GR Yaris, it's something that stands on its own in a way, right? And you can bluff your wife and say that I just bought an 80,000 ringgit. It's Yaris only,
Yeah,
ma.
right. Yeah, right.
Right? Uh, but
the look of the car, there's nothing about the car that doesn't look aggressive.
no, I mean, yeah. Actually, I think the in terms of looks, the Yaris appeals more to me because the FK8 is a bit too
Cartoon.
boy racer for me,
Yeah.
right? I also appreciate the fact that the Yaris is it's real double wishbones, so that's a plus for me. I mean the Honda makes the best manual gear changes. I think we cannot deny that. But I think the GR Yaris gets my vote for this, lah.
Mm.
And let me just share with you a conversation that I had. So recently, as you know, as you watch from my video, Toyota recently organized a 3-day track event. Right, we went to Sepang. We drove the GR Yaris Gymkhana course track day, 3 days flat
You
out.
bash the Yaris lah. You bash it lah.
Voila. So today I had a chat with the person who put it all together. He put it all together, the event organizer, and he tells me that, do you know what they had to change with the cars after we were all done, after 3 days of hard ass abuse, right? You know what they had to change in the car?
Just the tires?
Yeah. And the tires were barely worn. Here's the kicker.
Wow. Even after all that sliding and all that track work.
And I'm not talking about sliding with all patch, I'm talking about sliding on Sepang, the paddock, the parking, the concrete.
Yes, the paddock.
Right, where it is very, very seong for the tires.
What are you running? You were running Continentals or
I can't remember. Like, it was the road tires, okay. But the fact is, those cars were given like serious abuse. Seriously kena jolok. Those cars, but they took it like a champ. I tell you, and you take what BMW, your M235i or whatever, you put through that kind of abuse, right? After 3 hours, the car surrender already, one.
Well, it doesn't take that long, lah, bro. I taken my M235 out on the track stock. First time I went on the track, my charge pipe burst.
Yeah.
After I changed to steel charge pipe, upgrade to 19-inch rims. I put on better tires. 3 laps or 4 laps, my brakes were fading. There's smoke coming up from my brakes.
All right.
Yeah.
The GR Yaris, after I drove the last group. I was the last of 3 days. The brakes bite, the tires grip. It was on, and then it was, the grip was to the point where you had to really yank the handbrake in order to create the drift, for the picture taking and all that, right? So the event organizer told me that at the end, what they did was they swapped new tires in the front and took the old tires and put at the back, just so that the car can slide a bit.
That's interesting.
So that car, so the GR Yaris is not only a performance car. That car, right, is seriously solid, man. Toyota did some, and the thing is that, right, the fact that the engine and transmission can take the pounding. We can say, okay lah, Toyota, they built their cars to last. But how do you explain the brake pads were barely worn, the tires were barely worn? Means that the natural balance of their car is so fantastic that it manages to keep the tires wear at a minimum,
Wow.
under severe abuse. I was mind blown, man.
The engineer in Con approves.
Approved. Let me tell you, a few years ago, many years ago, I think it's like easily, I think 9 years ago, I went for a BMW M-Track Day experience. So a year before that, I was in Seville for the international media drive of the M5, F10 M5. Okay. So then a year later, BMW did an M-Track Day, brought the cars to Sepang, left-hand drive. These cars from Germany, they left port, then they went for all the various locations to do the M-Track Day demos. And what I heard was those cars last came from China, and then they were shipped to Malaysia. From port, go straight to track. Immediately after 2 or 3 corners, I feel like, something's not right with this car. The tires were shot already, that car. So the car was all over the place. I mean, it was like, this is not the M5 that I remember it to be. So we people like us, when we drive enough cars on track, we know a fine car versus a fucked up car on track one. But that Yaris, despite the abuse that it took, it felt fresh, the car. I was like, wow. So GR Yaris for me.
All right, let's take a look at the chat over here. Let's see. Wow, so many people coming out. Yaris, Henry Siu Yaris, Derek Yaris, Jensen Yaris. Okay, there's some Civic guys over here. RS, easy choice. Henry is like, no way I'm going to Type R. Let's see over here. Yaris, because it's limited and having a collectible value. Yes, it's homologation as well. Without a doubt. There you go. Kenneson says Civic Type R. I think Civic Type R plays with the fan base of the Type R, It's just it's a great car. It's a great car. I remember driving an M235i on my track, and I remember a Civic Type R just run circles around me, just make me look ridiculous.
Now, if this choice was GR Yaris versus FD2R, it's FD2R all day long. So, okay. but those guys who say the GR Yaris is limited production run, let me tell you something. Audi A6 hybrid is rarer than this. Audi A6 hybrid only got 4,000. This one got 25,000.
Check it out. HP say my V6 is nice.
It's nice, very nice.
Okay, so for me, I will pick the Yaris because I think that you're right. The FD2 is just so epic. No matter how faster the FK8R goes, there's something so special about the FD2.
Always in the shadow of the FD2.
Yeah, it's just something so wild about the FD2. Something wild, it's a bit like there's something wild about it. I can't explain. But the FKR is a bit more serious, but with a bit more.
Actually, the FK8 is very civilized. The FK8 is a Type R you can drive every day.
Yeah, but something about the FD2 just makes you feel like a rabbit dog. That's what this word I would use. It's like a rabbit dog. It just I like that. I'll pick the Yaris because from what I heard, you can abuse the car. And something about hatchbacks, right? There's the inherent quality about fast hatchbacks that it likes to be abused, and you can abuse it. Yes, and I think Yaris does it very well.
I can confirm you. This GR Yaris can take a ton of abuse.
Take up the gun thing, you abuse the car up all the way. Wow. It likes to be abused. There's something about hatchbacks that likes that.
This car will take it, man.
Yeah, a coupe likes to be driven smoothly, But this feels like a car that likes to be abused and wants to be can take the abuse.
This car will take it, no question. Anytime.
Yeah. Okay. So for this, we have 2 more, and it's really 1 hour 45 minutes. Let's go to the next one. For this one, me and Con agrees. Let's move on to the next one. Okay. My favorite is MPV sections because I love MPVs because it's the designs are interesting nonetheless.
Let's
So
see.
I have two very interesting MPVs for you to pick from. Simon, let's
Come,
go.
let's bring it on.
Okay. Would you pick the Suzuki S Cargo?
What the?
Whoever designed this car, right? The name also is epic. The S Cargo. You get it? So for those who don't know, in French, the escargot is the snail. You eat the snail, no, it's called escargot. It's the escargot, right? Get it? Snail.
Yeah. What?
So would you pick this car? And let us know in the comments what would you pick, or would you pick this other one? A mixed
The S-Cargo for sure.
All right.
The
Both
Suzuki
of them
for
have
sure.
interesting design. Look how much effort they've done to create that big, you know. Which one
The
would you
Suzuki for sure. If you're going to go weird, you go weird ass all the way.
pick? Would you be proud to drive that around? A Suzuki
would.
S-Cargo.
No, you don't be surprised, You don't be surprised, I drive this, right? I will turn more heads than your Spider.
Yeah, because people look at you like, what the heck is wrong with this
Hey,
car?
hey,
Look at
Thomas,
the rear.
Thomas,
Look at the rear. That little circle.
Thomas,
window.
if you drive out in this, right, you probably get late more easily than you will in the Spider.
The S-Cargo. No.
Easily.
Who believes that you get late more with the S-Cargo than the Spider? Let me know in the chat over there. Let's see if the audience agrees. But let's see what people choose. Okay. Jensen says S-Cargo. The Jeremy Long says S-Cargo. Your Mitsubishi. Mitsubishi. Guys, let us know what would you pick. We have a couple people watching it. What would you pick if you have these two and you must pick one? Con says the S-Cargo, and he claims that it's easier to get late in the S-Cargo than the Spider.
Not that it applies to a married man, but you know.
I'm not married. I'm okay, right? Okay. S-Cargo is to sell roast pork at Pasar Pagi. You know what? JT Wang has a good idea. You know, you bring a car that looks unique, so it helps you with your business. Can you imagine if your Evo Club car wash is being run by S-Cargo?
Oh, totally.
RSA can get late in the S-Cargo area. It's true. You cannot get late in the Spider. There's no space to get late in the Spider. Thank you very much. S-Cargo attract more kids around you. Okay. See, Derek agrees. Get more kids around you. All right. So cute. Crispy stew yok yum. Yum. Okay. S-Cargo can sell ice cream. You're right.
It has an ice cream wear.
You're right. It does attract attention. If you drive an Evo Club car wash in that car, it's like, hey, you take a look. Or you're selling nasi lemak or siu yok or whatever, right? You know. Okay. I just cannot wrap my head around the way it looks. But it looks like they've gone through a lot of engineering feats to design this car. You know, if you look at both these cars, right? Look at the mirror, the way they designed that mirror, right? It's so much effort, you know.
I wouldn't want to break that, man.
Yeah, but you have to still, no matter how they look and how, in my opinion, it's ugly. Sorry, guys. You still have to respect the amount of effort they used to build these cars. You know?
Oh, absolutely. No question.
Look at the front of the Mitsubishi i-Car, man. Look at the glass, man. Look at that. Like, come on, man. And I think it's to make you feel like you have an expensive space. You know, I think that's the design.
So which would you choose? The Mitsubishi?
Oh, I don't know, man. I look at the S-Cargo and I see myself in there. I just feel like killing myself. Okay, the i-Car is still a look. It's still, I'll pick the i-Car.
Okay. I go with the Suzuki.
Suzuki. I don't know why I do this. I always just find ugly MPVs or weird MPVs and put. So in this segment, me and let's see over here. Oh wait, Hasbullah says S-Cargo. Okay, S-Cargo is my choice.
It does have an ice cream wear kind of vibe, right? The
S-Cargo. It does, isn't it? And look at the rear. The rear, you have this little hole behind there.
Yeah.
Circular window. You know, interesting. Yeah, the S Cargo, who else in the world will build a silhouette like this? Is iconic lah, I guess. Okay, let's move on to the next one. For this one, me and Con disagree. Disagree. Okay, let's go to the next one. Last one. Now, Con, I know you love BMWs and you have a obsession for something like this. Let's see.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm curious to know what's next.
This car is right now, I think there's none in the market in Malaysia, but for a left-hand drive, I think it will be cost around between 200,000 to 300,000 ringgit lah, around there. Right? Oh, for that same money, for 300,000 ringgit, you can get something as epic as this. A Ferrari.
Are you kidding me? S430 can get
300,000
at this price.
You can get 300,000 you can get.
Okay lah, but let me tell you something. An E39 M5 has not hit 200,000 yet, but it will get there one day lah.
But let's say within the 200,000 range lah. Okay, these two cars float around there. Okay, that's why I picked these two cars. I don't want to pick the Modena because Modena is sorry, the 360, but I think the 430 is the last of its raw Ferrari, right?
M5 lah. I mean, the M5 is the car I've been talking about all my life, so it has to be the M5.
Really?
Really? If you put an E60 here, or E34 here, maybe okay, I'll go for the Ferrari. But E39, M5,
let's say both are the same price. Someone comes to you and say the day you get the money to buy the M5, right, the E39 M5, and then someone comes to you, hey Con, I can sell you my F430 for the same price that you're buying for the E39 M5.
But you see, the thing is that the F430 is not a car that I grew up wanting to get.
So despite its performance, despite its mark, it's not the car that you desire.
No.
Spoken like a true enthusiast. Okay, let's look at the chat over here. Wow, let's see over here.
Not bad. Quite a lot of people pick M5,
All right, 430. We have E39 M5 from Lasse. Jensen E39, interesting. Con struggling, okay. I think he struggled for a bit and then he just knew what he wanted. Jonathan F430. Okay, 430 because the desktop. Okay.
You see, so like RS, he was dreaming for the F430 from young. That's what that's what he should choose.
Yeah. This is the last of the manual. Derek, of course, Derek will pick an E39 M5. He drives a beautiful Corolla. You know what I'm talking about. All right, M5. M5,
Yeah, surprisingly,
Yeah. I'll still go for the M5. Con never saw the M540i on FB. But
actually, the owner of that 540i is from my E39 WhatsApp group.
Nice. Hasbullah say, why are you torturing Con? I think that's what I do with Dude, Where's My Car? I torture my guests, but sometimes I torture myself as well. Like the Fiat Multipla. Okay. 430 able to give me one night stand with some chicks. Probably, yeah.
Oh, good man. Good man.
Yeah, but different priorities, right? Con doesn't really care about that.
Anyways, no. I really have enough women in my life right now, so.
But you know what is interesting? I can imagine it's that, right? You can take your M5, send your kids to school, or you can on a Saturday morning go for toge, come back,
exactly,
take your family, go makan breakfast, right?
Yeah,
and then you go for a road trip. You can pack everything, put in the car, drive to Penang, do a nice road trip, and come back. Yeah, and that's the appeal, isn't it? Yeah,
it's an all occasion car.
Yeah,
and Thomas, here's the funny thing. Here's the best part of it. In Malaysia, in this comparison, the Ferrari actually pays lower road tax.
Oh yeah. But you know what? I think that it's rarer to see an E39 M5 than an F430.
Correct.
Yeah, and for that, see, you're right. I never had a love for Ferraris. I respect the brand. I like
Yeah.
what they've achieved. The Scuderia has achieved with what they have. No, it's you cannot think of a sports car or supercar without saying the word Ferrari. That's how
Correct.
powerful they are.
Ferrari is the definitive sports and supercar brand.
Yeah, especially the supercar brand, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even if you're a non-car enthusiast, you know the name Ferrari.
Exactly,
right?
exactly.
Yeah.
Whereas,
Or in the Malaysian way, we call Falali.
yes. Whereas Lamborghini, McLaren, Bentley, Aston Martin don't roll off the tongue quite so easily compared to Ferrari.
But for me, I like the E39 M5. I pick it over the F430.
Oh wow!
Not because I don't like the F430. I think it's still brilliant, but because it's rarer.
Yeah.
And as a financial investment, yes, the F430 will increase as well. But there's something alluring about a sleeper, you know.
Yeah.
And even by today's standards, right? You put the E39 against the Golf GTI or Golf R, right? It can give the Golf R a run for its money. The difference is the Golf R looks aggressive. There's something about the Golf R looks aggressive a bit with the four.
Yeah.
This. But the E39 M5, a young punk comes up to your car. They don't know you're driving you don't know what's underneath the hood.
Yeah.
They usually don't know, right?
And
then when you put the foot down and they hear the exhaust, I mean, it's such a departure from what's today's performance with turbocharged 4 cylinders.
Correct.
It's so different. So for me, I would pick the E39 M5. If I can get my hands on one, I would definitely want one. I think a couple of years ago, someone was selling an E34 M5. And I so regretted not putting up an offer for that.
Oh, that one is even E34 M5 in our market, even rarer.
Correct. I saw one white color one. I'm so upset I didn't put up an offer.
Oh, I think I know which car you're talking about.
I was so afraid to make an offer because I was selling my 1 Series. I was thinking to take I can drive my Honda City as my daily, my IDSI, and then get something like this, something as wild as this, you know. But I was so afraid of maintaining the car, you know. Yeah. But yeah, for me, it's the E39, and I like this fact that because the new M5 or M5 or the new M3s, they look like it's an M, right?
Yeah.
Where this one has almost zero cues that it is an M5.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that naughtiness in there. I like the
the thing is that, right, you can technically convert a regular 520 or 525 to be a convincing replica of the M5 in this generation, but E60 F10 upwards you cannot, because they changed some of the body panels really.
Correct.
Yeah.
There's no extra wheel arc, all this, none of that. Yeah. And I like the fact that I can take this car and go for a meeting, no one bats an eye. I go take this car, I go do business negotiation. People think that I have no money or I'm not entirely wealthy, you know. They wouldn't know, and you don't want that attention. Sometimes you just don't want it.
Correct.
You know. Yeah. But yet when you start the car and you start driving, you're just happy, right?
Oh yeah, that's the spirit.
Yeah. Let's look at the chat over here. How many E39 M5s are there in Malaysia? I don't think there's a lot.
This one I really don't know, but I don't think
less than 10.
I don't think more than 20 or 30 cars.
Yeah.
I think very small number. Definitely E6, there are way more E60 M5s or an F10 M5s. Maybe even F90 M5s as well. Any of the subsequent M5 more. But so the E39 M5 will be the last one that I believe will appreciate significantly in value. If you talk about the E60, it's being held back by the SMG and the conrod problem. The conrod of its engine. So people are scared of E60, people are scared of SMG, people are scared of conrod bearings. But for me, the conrod bearing is something that it's well documented. It's fixable within a reasonable amount of cost. The big problem is the SMG. So if somebody can develop a cost-effective way to fix the SMG issue, right, that's when the E60 M5 will appreciate.
Pick up again.
F10 M5, I think the F10 M5 there will be a sort of like a bottom line where it will not dip, the value will not dip under, but once it hits that bottom, right, the appreciation will be very slow, because what the F10 M5 can offer, it's the same as the F90 M5. F90 M5, only thing difference is you get all-wheel drive, you get
E90 M5, you mean?
F90.
Oh,
The
F90
current
F5, you mean the newest M5? Yes, yes.
You see, the thing is that, right, previous M5s from E28, 34, 39, 60,
They're all
each of it
vastly-
it's a different flavor.
Yeah.
All right. So like when the E39 M5 come out, there is something about the E34 being the last straight six M5. So there's that rarity. Then when E60 came out, once again, E39 was the last M5 with manual transmission. And when F10 came out, E60 was the last one, was the only one with the V10.
V10, yeah.
But when F90 came out, V8, same one. So
Only
I mean,
difference is all-wheel drive and then rear-wheel drive.
So basically, if you ask me, right, if I were to miss out on owning the F10 M5, I'm okay, because down the road, the F90 M5 will give me more or less the same thing, even better.
True. Okay. So, but I still feel the E39 M5 will hold its value way better than any of the future M5s.
It's not going to hold its value, it's going to appreciate.
Yeah, especially when it's a manual box. I think
it's going to appreciate for
sure.
sure.
I can just imagine driving the car like a hooligan, man. Wow.
Yeah. Today it hasn't reached 200K yet, but it will.
It will, and beyond. All right, let's look at other things. Lasse says, sleeper cars rocks. JT Wong says, have you heard of Scotty Kilmer says all BMW is a piece of junk plastic?
Yeah,
sure
to each his own opinion.
Yeah, that's true. Ferrari is iconic, but I never buy one until I still get a Porsche when the time comes. Okay, to each his own. E39 M5 Malaysia, right? That's true, same thing. Okay. Wow. Talk about Scotty. Okay, so we're done with all the Dude Where's My Car. So for this one, me and Con agrees, I would love an E39 M5.
Oh yeah,
I would love it more than the E36. The funny thing is the E36 M3 compared to this, I'll pick this. The E46 M3 CSL maybe yes, but I like this. Yeah. But the thing of those cars, I think this car just is such a unique proposition. The fact that it's so stealthy. You know what I would like to do? I like to own one of these cars, and for half the time I'll take out the badge of the M5 and just drive it around.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's like, it's just it's a 05 series lah. And it's like, hey, what kind of 5 series is this?
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Okay, man. And that's it for Dude Where's My Car. And this segment, we've done this for 2 hours. The goal was to do it in 1 hour and 10 minutes, but we extended it so long.
Yeah,
because it was just so awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. So we've ended this segment. Thank you so much, Con, for sharing your experience in Portugal. With
my pleasure, bro.
It's something so interesting to hear your back-to-back experience through all this. I'm going to post on the chat, right, of the YouTube link to Con's review when it was still in Cardist. Right? So you can go check it out. And if you haven't subscribed to Con, please go ahead and do so. If you haven't subscribed to me, please go ahead and do so as well. We produce live sessions 3 times a month, right? So this is Top Gear. I do car reviews, Con do car reviews, obviously. We do lifestyle content for also car enthusiasts. And another last shout out to Evo Club Car Wash. Guys, if you're looking for business opportunity, no capital to start a business, be an operator. If you want to diversify your investments, you want to try something different than real estate, try owning a business for very small capital. All right. I'm not talking about 50,000, 100,000. I'm talking about something as low as 8,000 onwards. All right.
And
you
can go up to 50,000, 60,000 if you want, but We start
But
at 8.
start at 8. Yeah. So that's a great thing over there. Check that out. And of course, if you are renewing insurance, check out Evo Club Insurance. Save up to 40% of your insurance premium. Okay. So thank you so much for sharing. Con, any last words?
No, actually. So thank you for having me here, Thomas. And wish all of our Muslim friends selamat berpuasa in this fasting month. And I just want to say good night. And yeah, it's nice to be able to share this well, my it's a bit of history of the 5 Series and my affection for the car.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, Con, for coming on to share this. I learned a lot about the 5 Series. Learned a lot about what makes every single generation unique. Like learning the idea of having the fastest diesel, most powerful diesel engine on the E28 and stuff like that. So it's quite a refreshing experience. And now as I'm talking to you, I can see how the journey morphed, evolved, where the revolution started, when the evolution started. It's just very interesting. So thank you for sharing that. I think you are one of the very lucky journalists to be able to experience all of that. I hope one day I get to experience all the 3 Series, because I'm more of a 3 Series guy. I get to experience from 2002 onwards all the way up to whatever. If I get to do that, man, I think it'll be one of the most memorable things in my life. So thanks for sharing that with us. Thanks for adding value to this my channel as well. And we'll talk more in the future. And of course, you're due to review my Spider too. Yeah.
Oh yes.
Yeah,
I am definitely going to take you up on that. Definitely.
Yeah. Okay, thank you so much, Con. Have a good rest. Thank you so much for your time again, and thank you everyone for watching. Thank you for hanging out with us. Please stay safe, and to our Muslim friends again, happy fasting, selamat berpuasa, and advance selamat hari raya. And with that, stay safe. Numbers are going up. Let's keep ourselves protected. And and as always, love you guys. Stay safe, and always keep it 100%. With that, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in another episode of Top Gear. Right, we're gonna sign off right now. See you guys.
Yeah, and I'll be back in the comment section for the next episode.
All right, cool. All right, see you guys. Ciao.
Ciao.